Hello, everybody. Welcome to Strain On Society. I'm RevPaulEHendricks, and that E stands for extraordinary. Depending on who you ask, if you ask somebody closer to me, they might say it stands for Eric. Whatever, it doesn't matter. That most of those folks are dicks. I prefer extraordinary, but whatever. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Welcome to Strain On Society. Anyway. It's a new week. It's a new year. Happy New Year, 2021. If you missed it, I just did this past Sunday, I did a sermon on looking back at 2020 and looking through the lens of significance. Like, we apply significance to everything. And if you want to give that a check out and see kind of through the lens of, was 2020 bad, good, both, great, awesome, shitty? Everybody's got different opinions on it, and just get a little deeper with it. Like, why do we have those opinions on it? So check that out. It's on my Instagram or YouTube channel, Strain On Society. Instagram, strain_on_society. And you can check that out. It's my Sundays. I do a church with Rev Paul. I'm Rev Paul. In case you're wondering. Today, in a little while, I'm going to have Jasmine, like the flower, a local artisan here in Austin, also a social worker, and someone who I met just recently while I was shopping for the holidays. Me and my wife, Diane, who's popped in here every now and again. We lived in Hawaii for a long time, and for a long time we would just buy like a family gift around the holidays, like a new TV or a PS5 one time. And even when we first moved here, we didn't share gifts for a really, really long time. Just because we're not into it. And then we started doing it here because we're in Austin, Texas. And we just started feeling that we had a lot of friends here that are artists, jewelry designers, jewelry makers, just a pool of creativity here, like nowhere we've ever lived before. And we started setting like a spending limit, and it had to be from a local artisan. So this year was rather challenging because every year here there's a lot of pop-ups, a lot of pop-up with a lot of all local vendors, local artisans and local crafts people. And this year there just weren't as many, obviously, because of COVID. And our friend Tara, who I had mentioned before, she finally was able to put on a Wandering Vegan one, a pop-up market right before the holidays, and I was able to find what I was looking for. Find the final gift that I was looking for my wife Diane, made by a local artisan. And it's where I also met Jasmine, like the flower. And so she seems really cool. She's an artist also. She was a vendor at this particular event and had a lot of glass work and just stuff that she had created, and she had some bongs. And we got to talking. She was super cool. So I'm going to have her on today just to help promote her, get to know her a little bit. And I love seeing young folks, young entrepreneurs. It's just one of the things that I really enjoy seeing, that inspires me, is young folks out there hustling. So I look forward to talking to her. But in the meantime, I have this smoke, and I completely just forgot what it was called. Even on the sermon on Sunday, I talked about it. It is, if you've been watching the last several episodes, I've had some really good indicas that I really liked. And I'm a sativa man. And because of those, I all of a sudden was out of indicas and had only sativas. So I wanted some indicas. So I got this one. It's called Grease Monkey. Just popped into my head. And here's what I know about Grease Monkey from trying it out. It's definitely a indica hybrid. And I've only had it, I think I got it on New Year's Eve. And so the evenings that I have smoked it, it's taken me out. So this is going to be a little early in the day for me. It's headed into evening time, but it's still pretty early for me to smoke this particular indica, just because I know the results based on it. So shit, I hope when we have a conversation, that I am able to maintain, because this one definitely has the full indica effects on me, as far as I want to just chill, watch a movie, I just kind of, I've been going, I kind of really early this morning and went back to bed, made that decision. And so I slept in till about 7, and it was fucking awesome. And it also caused me a little anxiety because I've been getting up at, between 4 and 5 every day. So I just kind of jumped right into my day at 7, woke up, made some coffee, and just jumped in. And so I've been going and going and going pretty much all day. So that's, pardon, I should turn my phone off. Will I cut this out? Probably not. What are you gonna do? Sometimes, sometimes you get a phone call. So anyway, Grease Monkey is the strain, and I've been going all day. And what I'm working on now is, besides this, I've also been seeing, I'm really wanting to finish this book, Don't Feed the Humans. So the manuscript, working on that, finishing that, and Bully Ranch, our pit bull rescue. And I've also recently started seeing a nutritionist because I'm working on my physical side and lowering my blood sugar down to a healthy, normal, healthy level. And so I'm working with a nutritionist. And then I researched a lot, and I found one that was really good. That had a lot of different specialties, and very much about the understanding, one's emotions, one's behavior. And so there's a lot of modules and workbooks that go with it. So I've been doing that. It's pretty intense, much like the work I've helped participate in by coaching and facilitating and leading groups. And a lot of the exercises are very similar, except they're all kind of adapted to my relationship with food. And so it's really intense, and it really asks to get deep, and I'm all down with that because I have no problem going deep and getting, looking at those places in me, because I know, based on my results, based on the data, based on my labs, that I'm not getting this to where I want it to go on my own. So I actually went down. It's so beautiful out today, down here in Austin, Texas, and it was so beautiful. I went out, sat by the pool, and did a lot of the homework. And it's just, and it's all, I'm reading the questions and I'm handwriting them down because I can't get to write on the PDF, which is better, the hand to brain, that kind of. That kind of relationship it draws closer than typing. That relationship draws closer. That even makes sense. It's a stronger, I don't know what the words I'm looking for. Anyway, so I spent some time out there, sitting by the pool and working on that. And I just kind of been going, and then my alarm went off. Actually, my wife's alarm went off, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. And so, I just kind of jumped right in and wanted to do this part before I get Jasmine on, before she comes on here. So we can get into the little review aspect of this, the little review aspect. Is that what I should call this? So here we go. Grease Monkey. Like I said, I hope I can maintain. It's gassy. A little bit of gas flavor. Definitely earthy as hell. Y'all know I like citruses and sweet. I'm getting that earthy, mushroomy, gassy, not overpowering, not disrespectful. Just it's not necessarily unpleasant. It's fairly pleasant. It's almost innocuous kind of terpenes. But what I noticed about it before, I know the THC content's around 22%, 21%, something like that. That I get really high, and then because it was always towards the end of my day, I fell asleep. Like I fell asleep so hard smoking this. I was on my my couch behind me, and the reclines, and I'd fallen over sideways and kicked my legs over on the side, knocking over my go back into focus camera. Hey, all right, what's going on here, camera? You're working. I can see you working. What's going on? The camera just went out of focus, and now where'd it go? That was pretty weird. Yeah, my camera just kind of froze up in that. It was just out of focus. So anyway, totally lost my train of thought on that. Anyway, getting back to this, it feels great. I feel like, how do you explain like the waves of vibrations, and they're coming up my chest and up my back and in my back of my neck, like any good indica should. There's so much talk about sativas, indicas, and there being a difference. There's a difference. I mean, as far as the effects they have on me and what I like more, you just gotta, but you have to research and understand the product you're getting, look into the product you're getting, look into the sellers, all that good stuff. But the last several indicas I had were excellent. Like, I was smoking some of them during the day, early afternoon or whatever, but they weren't as sleepy making me as this. And, it all could just be stress, holiday stress I was under, being busy, all that stuff could also be the impact on why I fell asleep right away. Very easy that's also a possibility. I like it. If you're one of those people that really, really like terpenes, really like a strong flavor profile, this doesn't have it. It's not strong flavor profile. Not a lot of strong terpenes. It's mostly the mycerne, is it called? The mycerne, the earthy, mushroomy kind of, very bland, not very, very subtle. And that one, there was a lot of gas. Coats the mouth. Definitely taking a bigger hit. Got me got a big gassy, robust gassiness even after that hit. And I liked it. I like the gas. Who doesn't like gassy? Well, if you lived here with my dogs, you know what I mean? You would like it. Try not to cough. But the gas got me. Man, starting to sweat for sure. And it's such a beautiful day. It was kind of cool in here. Got the sweat coming out down the bridge of the nose, right into the eyes, where it always gets that pressure. The pressure, and when it starts sweating there, and you think, I'm not crying. You're not crying. You're literally just sweating, coming all down here. It's always a good physical, representation of my stonedness. And I'm pretty fucking stoned right now. Pretty stoned. So like I said, with this particular strain, Grease Monkey, Indica Hybrid, if you really like terpenes, you really like powerful flavor profiles, this isn't the one for you. But if you like a solid indica, tastes like fucking dope, like weed, like cannabis, and you like it to say, like I said, it's helped me in the evening, fall asleep and fall asleep and remain asleep, which is good. And it's helped me immensely with that. So in that ability to relax, it's going to be good with pain, anxiety, all of those things, in my opinion. I'm not the weed doctor. I'm Paul. Nice to meet you. Man. Oh, God. Well, I got such deep hits on those last ones. I'm so proud I didn't cough. You guys don't even know. It was there. It was hanging in the balance, and I didn't do it. So I'm pretty stoked about that. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to get ready for Jasmine, like the flower, to come on. We're going to have a conversation about being a young entrepreneur in Austin, and maybe talk a little bit about her bongs and her experience. And we're just going to have a good old-fashioned conversation, get to know somebody new, and maybe you'll like some of her wares. Go check her out. So right after these messages, I'll be back with Jasmine. Thanks for watching Strain on Society. Enter commercial here. Of course, I'm going to include this.
Hey y'all, Doug Benson here. Watch Strain on Society with Paul E. Hendricks. Ambulance.
Welcome back with Jasmine, like the flower. That's how she introduced herself to me. Jasmine Dunn, artist extraordinaire. We don't know if it's extraordinaire yet. We're just meeting Jasmine. I just want to say before you say hello, here's my first. I had mentioned previously when I was doing the review that I was at the Wandering Vegan holiday market, which thankfully would happen because this year there were hardly any, and my wife and I, we want to buy presents from local artists. We used to not even exchange presents. When we started doing it, we have a financial limit and it's all got to be local, and we rely on those markets every year because they're great. There's so many fantastic just creators in Austin, and I love that. And so I went to that one, and I was looking for one particular piece, and I found it there, and I got it. And then I was walking out, and I was talking to Tara, and I happened to see you. And there was another young woman bowing down to you. And so I took pause, and I looked, and I said, "Oh, these beautiful young women, one's bowing the other." And then immediately my eyes went to, you had bongs sitting on your table, and I was like, "Oh, the intrigue rises." And then we introduced ourselves. So tell me a little bit about you. What were you doing at the market as a vendor?
Yes.
You were a vendor.
So hello. So I am vegan. This is why I was at the market. Are you vegan?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, that makes it so much better. I didn't even know.
Yeah. We do. You would love it. Follow us on Instagram. We do. I do hashtag plant-based stoner food. My wife's an awesome vegan cook, so we do a lot of different. Just a lot of different, really explosively flavored plant-based dishes and desserts and stuff. That's one of the big things that we do. We have a pit bull rescue. It's also we want it to be an animal sanctuary when we have the ranch and everything as well. But yeah, we totally are promoters of the plant-based diet, and like to share others with that. And I assumed you were there because all the vendors said their wares were vegan, but then I was kind of like, well, people are putting that much effort into making sure nothing's animal based in the products or art they're creating. They probably don't eat it either, and that's an assumption. I'm sure that's not true for everybody, but maybe it is. I don't know. That's not right. I'm glad that it makes me happy that you are.
Yes, that's so awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of like customers were not vegan; they were just shopping, so I figured you were. Love that. So yeah, at the market, I was vending. It was super last minute, actually. So I just got into resin in October. It was something I've kind of always wanted to do. By always, I mean like a couple years. I actually my roommate and I are getting matching tattoos later today. And I was just going through our messages looking for the tattoo, and I saw me the first time. I was sending her some cool bongs that I saw, and I was like, oh my God, look at this. Like, what is this? I was like, how are these girls doing this? Like, this is so fucking cool. And that was back in June. And so I started it. I just ended up having more time. I was in a relationship. And so after that, it was long distance. So I had so much more time. And so I was like, well, I'll just start resin. And now we're here. It's really taken off. So I saw
explain if people don't understand what like creating with resin is.
Yes. So resin is an organic or inorganic polymer. It's not going to mean anything to most people. It's basically like a two-part, very thick liquid. Most of them are two parts, and you do like a 1-to-1 ratio. Some will be 2-to-1. For artist resin, it's usually 1-to-1. So I'll mix part A, warm it up, mix in part B, which is the hardener. And then you usually are doing things like with different molds. So I have like the glass pieces where I'll use the resin to coat things, and I'll go into more detail about that later. But then for most of the part, it's gonna be molds where you'll mix the resin, you can add stuff. I'm sure you saw I had like flowers, little wooden figurines, whatever. And then you pour it on, mix your stuff. You can add colors with different dyes. I can show you if that's important.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd love to see a piece if you have it there, so people can see what you're talking about. Because I think, what could throw people off, I think, or not throw people off, but so you're taking pieces that are already constructed, and then you're adding resin to them.
Correct.
Like the bongs, for instance, because they stick in my mind a lot. Just because I was like, oh, those are beautiful. They were beautiful.
Thank you.
And I had to have a conversation with myself about what I was there for, and the day before that, Canna Claus gave me like almost $1,000 worth of smoking of glass, of bongs and rigs, and so I was like, dude, I do want one. And my best favorite bong already out of that, and that was only 2 weeks ago. I just
is that the one you broke?
Yeah. So
sad.
I guess I will need a new one. Well, what do you have there?
Yeah, so let me grab another one.
Actually. Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. This isn't Jimmy Fallon. Hi in the background.
My roommate's here. That's the one I'm getting a tattoo with.
Nice.
Okay, so these are like my tray molds. So this is the rolling tray mold. Okay. So you can see that like I poured the resin in it, I colored it, and then you'll do what's called demolding. So you'll kind of like pull around the edges. I won't do it now, it takes like a little bit of time, but this is another one that I did. This one I can do. So this was a custom order. They asked for like blue and gold marble colors with the letter E in the middle. This is the back of the mold.
That's awesome.
So, and then this one's pretty easy.
Well, super cool.
Yeah.
What was it about that particular medium that attracted you to it?
I have no idea. I really have never, the bongs were really the first thing, and I was like, I have to figure out what this was. There really isn't much research on it at all. I was just so confused, but I just kept looking things up. I saw a lot of stuff about cup tumblers. I figured out it was resin. I would look at their hashtags. Just did a lot of research, and I really was planning on doing just the bongs, but then I would see these trays, and I've never really seen too many people doing trays like this.
I've seen one other, I think I saw one other person at a pop-up at like Little Darlin a couple years ago, and I thought how cool that I'd never seen a roller tray that had been made that cool.
Yeah.
And then I saw yours, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I still use a plate like an animal.
Yeah, right? No, I should make one for myself, but I always say I'm going to make stuff for myself, and then I'm just like, but I want someone else to have this. Like, this is beautiful. But yeah, other than that, nothing specifically attracted me to it. I want to do the bongs, then it kind of just escalated from there. I saw a TikTok of the wine stuff. I'm not sure if you remember the wine stuff, and so I ordered them, and that's really when things kind of started to take off, because smokers really is just such a specific niche. So I feel like once I expanded to like the other things is when it kind of started growing more. So that's molds. Then I'll do glass pieces, and I'll do wood. Like I'll get bamboo trays, put resin on there. With the bongs, I'll like buy the glass, usually overseas because that's how you get it for cheap. But some people will get like unique pieces here in the States. And I think once I grow and I do bigger pieces, I will start to do that. So yeah, I'll seal them. So this one's not complete yet. The sun is really popping right now. Not complete yet. I just like seal it with Mod Podge. So I let that dry for a few days. Then I'll go over and like, do you know what Mod Podge is? Like a craft sealant. It kind of basically looks like glue, but it dries clear.
I'm probably the least craftiest person you know, which is why I find this so intriguing. Is just because I like seeing these and I'm fascinated. Like, okay, well, how did that get there?
Right.
And I don't know. And the resin just kind of is weird to me. So it's not weird to me. I guess it's just not as mainstream of a. Well, no, I see it a lot more now. It's just not something that I know a lot of folks that work with. I have a lot of artist friends and everything, so I'm always fascinated when I see it.
Yeah, no, totally understandable. And I'm really, before October, I definitely would not have considered myself an artistic person. That's why this is such a surprise. Like, I'm just not, in my brain, definitely very creative. Like, I'm a smoker, of course I'm creative, but paint, drawing, anything like, not basic, but just standard art, like, not for me. So this was really a surprise for me when people tell me like, I trust you, like you're the artist, like use whatever. It's still very weird to me. I'm just like, what? Like, are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a writer. I have a Amazon best-selling book and all that, and so it's great. And at the same time, people ask me questions. Fuck, I don't know. I'm still trying to convince myself that I'm good at this shit. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for 12 years. I'm still in my head like, this is the book they're going to find out that you suck on. And it's very real. And I feel like I'm a fairly confident, intelligent guy, and I still feel that way. So that's not. I know what you're saying. When someone's like, "Oh, do what you would like to do," and I have a friend of mine. If you can see in the background, this skull piece here. He was really into skull pieces for a while. He paints on a lot of different mediums, and we used to do this like every morning. He's from Brazil. He lives in Arizona, and there used to be this app. It was like a walkie-talkie. I totally can't remember it. Vox or anyway. So we would just kind of share our intentions for the day and like cheerlead each other. And I remember he would have people commission him for paintings, and he would be like, man, they were like, well, I love what you're doing with these head series, but do something like that. And he's like, you want me to do it? You want me to trust myself? And, and he was this big Brazilian, used to be a model, just good looking dude. I would just laugh like, oh man, made me feel better about myself, his pain.
Imposter syndrome, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And there's people like I've read Steve Martin, as iconic as he is as a comedian, before he goes on stage now and does comedy or whatever, he still throws up because his stomach is so upset because of nerves. I read that and I was like, oh
that makes us feel better.
Yeah, really. Oh man, what's the actress? I just wanted to ask about this show the other day and for recommendations on it. How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh my God, yes.
She said the same thing in an interview about imposter syndrome, about like, she's an award-winning actress now, and still feels like, when are they going to find out? When are they going to find out? So that always makes you feel better, I mean, I don't feel good that they feel bad, but I feel good that I'm not the only one that.
We can all feel bad together.
Right. Exactly. Share the pain. It's easier to burden that way, and I agree with that. What got you into smoking in general? Since you started with bongs and doing the resin, have you been a long time smoker?
Yes, so I'm 23 now. I started smoking when I was 15, right before I was about to turn 16.
You started young, or younger than me.
Yeah. Let's see. I moved to Virginia for 6 months. My dad's an engineer, so I was moving pretty often throughout childhood. We mostly stayed put, but I had just wanted to go to Virginia. I've always been trying to escape Texas. So moved to Virginia for just 6 months. Absolutely hated it. It was miserable. Super sad. Sixth grader. I was not in sixth grade. 10th grader. I moved back. I had a friend that was pretty wild, and I literally remember going to visit to the high school, and I was just like, I'm tired of my life being boring. Like, I want to have stories to tell, because she always had such fun stories. That was my best friend. And she was like, come over. And I was like, I want to start smoking. And because she did, of course. And she was like, bet. Like, she'd been trying to get me to in the past. And I was just not really about it. And then, yeah, it was literally, that was the first time. And now we're here. I loved it. I remember at first being like, this is it. Like, this is all. Like, this is what the crazy for. And then I stood up and went to the bathroom, and I was like, oh. You had to stand up first, and then me and my best friend were in the bathroom for like 15 minutes just cracking up, like taking pictures.
Yes, I remember my first time still, and I'm in my late 40s, and it was in high school. Kidding. But I was older. I was 16, I think. I'd previously gone to a Christian school where that was very frowned upon. Although when I switched to public school, the Christian school kids got better drugs. I noticed as I started selling them to my public school friends, or my friends in the neighborhood we grew up with. But I remember going to the mall and running into some of our they were like the metal stoner kids from my high school. I was a punk rock kid, and we ended up over at this kid Thomas Smith's house, and his bedroom was his parents' basement, and smoking skunk weed, and I was terrified and paranoid and so having so much fun. And I was driving my dad's car, and I went up on a curb and thought I was going to be grounded for the rest of my life. And I'll always remember that and cherish that memory. And here we are 30 plus 32 years later, and I'm an avid advocate and still a smoker, and goddamn waiting on Texas to get on this. I don't even know. There's a senator-elect that rushed in before the new year, put in legalization paperwork or decriminalization. So that's something good to look forward to, that it will be up for vote again. But for a cash-strapped state as large as Texas is, cannabis could make all the fucking difference in the economy. And for people that are so money hungry, like our folks in our government, you think that they would be all over it. And
you really think so?
I mean, even Ted, I've been here about 7 years. Who was your governor before that ran for president?
I'd be lying if I said I knew.
He put his glasses on so he'd look smarter. I can't remember anyway. But even he was, as a Republican, wanted to bring it here simply for the money.
Really?
And they didn't want to bring it. So, man, I'm praying that happens. It's such a pain in the ass. And I'm curious because I know your other job, as I had said before I announced you on here, is social work. And it's funny you said, when I was your age, I too was a social worker. In fact, that's where I met my lovely wife that we have now. She was my boss as a social worker. And if I tell the story, I was just simply going in for my yearly evaluation, and I got my raise. But she has a different story. She's not in here right now, so my story stands. But we were both social workers. What kind of social work do you do?
I'm a social worker for the homeless, which I'm sure you know here in Austin, it's super tragic. So that is what I do. I work in a housing program. So I work to help get them housed and just kind of rehabilitate them to full independence again.
That's awesome. What is it? So you're 23, and being at that age and seeing some folks at low points in their life, and you get to see, I'm sure you get to also witness a lot of transformative moments in people's lives, which is, as I would imagine, is a result, which the driving force. it was hard for me that young, working with with different populations, to be able to even handle my own, have enough emotional maturity to handle that for me. So how do you do that? How are you able to balance that? Especially, you know, because some days in any social work field, you just are like, what the fuck am I doing it for? Because it ain't the money. You know what I mean?
Yes, for
Uh,
sure.
and then, so what's that like for you managing that? And can you share share a really hard or a challenging to you? It doesn't necessarily have to be a challenging case, but something that just challenged you in a way of made you just feel the weight of that, of what people
Yeah,
are feeling.
for sure, for sure. So I'm a very empathetic person. I've always been super empathetic, and I was really worried about getting into social work or doing any sort of mental health type of job, because I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna take my work home. These people have been through so much, and I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night. Like I'm gonna be like dreaming, having bad dreams. But I don't know. It's not like that at all. I'm very good at when work is over, it's over, and I have like my work
Nice.
phone. I put it on do not disturb. Like I do not play that game. Like when the day is over, it's over. I do not overwork myself. So I feel like that definitely plays big into,
You got a boundary. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yes. My coworkers always are telling me, and I'm the young, well, not the youngest on my team anymore, but I used to be the youngest on our team, and they were always like, "Your boundaries are amazing." Like I'll have
Yeah.
clients that,
For 23, I learned those boundaries from my wife. Same story. She was a regional manager for where we worked in Cleveland,
yeah,
and I hadn't worked there, but she was managing several different locations. And I met her after work. I hadn't worked there anymore. And she just was sitting on her porch at her house, drinking a beer and reading. And I was like, how do you do that? And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you shared about the crazy shit that went on during your day. And she was like, I have to let it go. Like, I have to be able to turn it off, turn the phone. Like, if I don't, I'll just be consumed. And then I'm going to
yeah,
go crazy and burn out. And I worked at it, and I learned from her how to set up boundaries and say no.
right.
And it's a pretty amazing and empowering experience. And I fucking definitely didn't do it at 23. Shit. I had in my
Yeah,
30s overextending myself, and even into my 40s overextending myself. So that's a lot of wisdom. And that's probably what answers the question: is at such a young age, how do you handle some of the weight of some of the things that you get to deal with? And the boundary thing is, damn, that wasn't what I was expecting, but God damn it,
yeah.
that's
That's
good. That's
huge. That's
awesome.
number one. I would say the other thing is just recognizing, and I'll tell my coworkers this too. I think my age actually helps, because most people are, there's some young people, but for the most part, they're older than me. And I always am thinking of them like, okay, this could be my parent. Like I don't, yes, they're suffering and have mental health illnesses, but they don't want to be looked at necessarily as like, people that can't, they just need a little bit of help to get back on their feet. Um, so I feel like my age actually helps, because I'm like, okay, like you're young, like again, just like being able to set the difference of age is actually helpful. And then the third thing I would say is just recognizing that it's just my job. Like I feel like a lot of people in social work can't relate to that. This really is like their whole life passion. Not to say that I don't care, but it's not my whole life, it's my career. So I feel like, again, just a different boundary. I always tell my coworkers, they'll be like stressing out, freaking out, and I'm like, you guys, all we can do is what we're able to do. Like it's not possible to do more. All of us want to
Yeah.
save everybody, but so just
We're,
recognizing that I can't save everybody.
we might need you to come give a motivational speech at our Bully Ranch our next annual board meeting, because that can be. We're not stuck in that. That was one way to deal with in 2020 a lot.
Yeah.
Was because we run out of our place here. We don't have our ranch yet, so we operate with all fosters, and they were just hard to come by over the pandemic, and they still are, because the first couple months, I think the Austin Animal Center wasn't taking intake at all. So there's all these
Yes.
dogs, and we like to work with some dogs that are the most challenged. And so throughout that, not having, we have a dog with us right now that we've been rehabbing for over a year, that's here living with us, and along with our dogs. And all of the ones that we had out with fosters ended up getting adopted, which was great, but we couldn't take in anymore. And so there was a big sense of not doing enough. And at the same time, we work in advocacy and doing there's other aspects of it, but there were moments of we're not doing enough. Because of course I'll see any fucking commercial on TV that's got if I hear Sarah McLachlan's voice again, I just start crying now. I'm so triggered. And I don't know how they changed the song, but I still start to recognize it. It's that feeling of like, you want to save them all. And then there's
Is that the ASPCA person?
Yep. In the eyes of an angel.
Yeah.
I'm not singing it well, and fuck it, nobody should.
No, you got it.
And I love her, and I love what ASPCA does. And we, as our brand is kind of about, we like to focus on what happens after we rescue the dogs, rehabilitate them, and they get adopted. We want to show a lot of, and I get the marketing aspect of it. And at the same time, it's a very tough business to be in. An animal rescue, and we want to make it as fun as possible. So I get the and even when we weren't having this, then it's like we want to take in dogs even when we don't have anywhere to place them, and that's where then we get overwhelmed. We cause our own selves anxiety, and having those boundaries. So well, I guess maybe next year we know who we'll have our motivational speaker will be. Come talk to us about boundaries and doing what one can do. That's brilliant. So what is it like when you get to see, you get to participate in some stories that have gone from really hard down on their luck to you get to see them on the other side?
Yeah, so I would say the success rate is probably it's really dependent on the client. It really is. We really do give them a lot of resources, but even with that, resources aren't always enough. Some people just have really hard needs to meet, but definitely have been lots of success stories. Oh, that's what I was saying. Maybe I would honestly say between 60 to 70% success rate.
Oh, really? That's good. That's higher than I expected.
Yeah. There's been a lot of stories. I guess my favorites would be the moms. The parents always seem to they just have that motivation of their kids, whether it's getting their kids back or just being able to provide more for them. Those are always the best stories. I love it so much. What else? I'm gonna wait really quick.
Okay.
I'm just gonna wait for the water to go up.
Oh, okay. I heard something, but I wasn't sure. It was like, maybe someone's peeing next to her. I don't know.
And that's why I closed the door earlier, because our upstairs neighbor will water their plants, and it just sounds like someone's peeing. And I was like, I hope that I can't hear that. But what was I saying? Oh, stories that I've told. Let me think of, and then yes, I've had, there's just really awesome stories, but I would say the parents for sure are the ones that I'm just most moved by. It's also just cool to see, because of COVID, we used to, we do everything with the clients in person. We give them rides, we take them to the lease signing, everything. And we've been doing everything virtually, and they've had to do most on their own. But for the first time, almost all year, was able to see a client move in and get her keys. And I was like, oh my God, I forgot how fun this was. She's just so happy, wanting to cry. That's going to be my son's bedroom. And I'm just oh my God. People don't understand, people just need help, and then they can get their shit together.
It's hard to say. People hear that and they think it's crazy. And at the same time, there's been spaces and times in my life where I have needed help, and I've reached out for help, and I've accepted the help because I needed it. And that's why I think it's important. And maybe that's why service is a huge value in my life and in my wife's life, is because of those times where we had to reach out. And then did get our shit together. And then we fucked up. We had fallen down many times. We've moved around all over, traveled from the Midwest, lived on the East Coast, lived in Hawaii, lived here. And we've gotten caught in a lot of fucking, in some jams. And when I see people, maybe that's why we were both drawn to social work. And now my wife retired from social work. Retired. She became a American Sign Language interpreter. So she's been doing that for the past 18 years, I believe. And so service is just, it's obviously a part of what she does. She's just very much of a don't talk about it, be about it. And I'm a big mouth, but I love this. I love that. Well, I am a big mouth. That's why I'm podcast this shit. What is that? There's that giving spirit that you have that's obvious in there. And one of the things I love about artists and creators, and this might be an unexpected question, and I know that all the light comes with shadow. And I know it because I think I'm probably one of the greatest people I know, and I'm a bastard. I know it, and I'm in therapy, and I'm working on. There's an evil fucking wizard that lives inside me. That has to is without him, I'm also not creative, not all those other things. So what do you think about you is that kind of that shadow part of you? Not even the flaw, like just the dark part that you go to, part of us that we don't, that part of you they don't like to share with the public. Why don't we do that on this podcast? Share it on this podcast. You don't have to go that dark, but you know what I mean?
I'm an open book. I share everything.
Awesome.
I'm lucky enough to say I've had a pretty positive life. I grew up in a good family. I was loved. I was shown love. I had everything that I needed. I'm pretty privileged. I mean, it wasn't wealthy, rich, but privileged compared to maybe the rest of the world. But yeah, definitely darkness like anybody else. There's definitely hard times. But weed truly changes the game, makes it very easy to get out of those dark times. My dark times really don't tend to last for long. I'm very much a person of I'm always looking for the next high. I'll be sad, crying, whatever, devastated, and then I'm like, okay, that was dramatic. What's next? That's really just how I operate, and I'm always jokingly saying that I'm perfect. I'm obviously not. Definitely have some.
I think it's funny because I joke that way as well, and I'm also very self-deprecating and when I'm funny.
Right.
And then people will say things, it'll annoy them, which is funny to me. But it's always, and I was like, man, I've had to be my biggest fan for so long that if I'm not, who else is going to be? And to get to where I want to get to things that I want to do and experience the life I want to experience, I got to take the risks. And I can't do that without some amount of confidence. My confidence has to override the fear, or I will just have a mediocre existence. Fuck all that.
Yes. I think that's one of my bittersweet qualities. It sounds like we have pretty similar qualities in life desire. I want to talk to you more about your ranch because I also have a pit bull and one
nice.
sanctuary. We'll get there. But yeah, I feel like I'm very much a person of once I make my mind up, I'm gonna do it because I'm confident about it, whether people are not gonna support it or not. And once I want something, I go and get it, and I feel like pretty much no matter what. And I feel like for other people that can hurt other people that you're close to sometimes because it seems like you're only doing things for yourself. But at the end of the day, I am, because it's my life. I have to do things that are best for me. So I do tend to put myself first. I don't see that as a darkness, but I know other people would be like, not considerate. But it's not that I'm not considerate. I'm just certain about what I want.
Yeah. Have you ever heard Lisa Nichols? She's an author and speaker. I saw her at a conference once. I was in Vegas, and she was explaining that very phenomenon of about giving and serving from your saucer. Or if you have a cup of tea and you want to serve from it, you serve from your saucer, as in you serve from what's running over. And a lot of people look at that in different ways, and I could see it as when I was a yes to everything, and then I would not find time to do the things that I loved. that it took from me. So I wasn't doing those things in a true spirit of doing them. I was doing them because I felt obligated to. And it was more so because I didn't say no. It's because I said yes, because I thought that's what I should do. Should, my least favorite word in the English language. So learning that and understanding that took me a really long time. And I went through a lot of bouts with people and arguments, and then and look at it, and like my wife is very good at saying no. And when she says no, the people that don't ask her again. When I say no, then people continue to ask me until I it's like a process that I had to go through of like, okay, no, 5 times no, don't ask again.
Yeah.
But the difference is doing what I love and what I'm passionate about serves with so much more energy and love, and ripples out so much further than doing what I feel obligated to do.
Yeah.
And so that's and then I was like, I get what that means. Serve from your saucer. I need to be so filled with the spirit of what I'm doing that I'm overflowing with an ability to share. But if I'm starving, it goes back to the airplane thing. You know, when the masks drop, put yours on first.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's a very good way of looking at it. So yeah, we do have a lot in common. I think that's really, really, really cool. You're from Austin, you said, and you moved to Virginia for a while.
Yeah, so I'm actually from the suburbs of Houston. I'm from Cypress, Northwest Houston. I've been in Austin. This will be year 5, I think. I moved in 2016 for school, and now I'm just staying because I love it, but I'm ready to go. I'm headed to Colorado.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I'm super excited. Not for about probably, my lease doesn't end until August. I'm supposed to be taking a long trip throughout Europe, like 4 months, but we're not allowed in there right now.
Yeah.
So
right.
Just kind of up in the air with that, but planning.
Colorado's awesome.
Yes,
it's one of the things we've considered. We had a ranch for Bully Ranch and our pit bull rescue and animal sanctuary here, and then we ended up not moving on it. And now we've been in this hold pattern of, well, let's just say Colorado has been one of the places that we've considered. Meaning, it's fucking hot down here as fuck during the summer, and being outside all day, every day. I don't know. And it's only going to get hotter as our environment and as our climate is changing. It's not going to cool off here. In fact, I saw models like by 2070, like the heat from down close to the equator will now be up around Texas. And so what we consider the plains area here would be more up like Michigan, the best places to grow. And so, I don't know, Colorado has been one of those places. And this year we wanted to go visit a lot of places, and we did. Colorado was one of them. We were going to go up to Montana and Wyoming, and just we'd never been there. So we were going to fly to Denver, hang out, and then drive up. I didn't realize how close Montana and Wyoming are, but we'd ended up not doing it due to the pandemic. So we're looking forward to getting to do that again. But I really loved having you on this. Do you have any more like pop-ups, or where can people find your stuff? And I will add a link page in that's got all your stuff on it. But do you have a website?
Yes. So my website is flosearth.com. It's FLOS earth.com. My Instagram, I'm sure you'll put that somewhere, but it's earthship _. Those are what I'm most active on. I don't really use my Facebook. I just tend to put what I put on Instagram on Facebook. And the next market I'm doing is going to be the 16th and 17th. It's with Frida Friday. I believe it's off of 7th Street. I just got approved today, so I'd be lying if I said I knew the address. But I'll be there Saturday and Sunday in 2 weeks. I have all my goodies there. And that's Frida Friday. You'd be able to Google it.
Yeah, I'll find that, and I'll put all that. I'll put that on a link page of this as well, so those that are from Central Texas that are watching this can go check it out if you so desire. I thought it was cool just to go see a bunch of, just to be around that kind of creative energy of like, it was nice. It was just, I just went around looking at stuff, and I had one of the brisket burgers from that shit was ridiculous.
Did you have sushi?
No, it was the it's from God, what's the taco place? Pardon me?
No, the vegan arm.
Yeah, sorry. The Vegan Nom, it's their sandwich truck that had like Nashville hot chicken sandwiches, burgers, and they had a brisket burger. So I got one of each of those. I brought them home. I also got a shake from Milky Way Shakes that did not make it home. And that brisket burger was one of the best things. And to have Nashville hot chicken was now I want it right now. I want it right now, but I'm not going to have that. It was a really good to have you on here. I hope you'd be on here again. And check out the bongs. Check out the bongs that she does, and I'll put her website and stuff up because they're pretty fucking rad. I'm sure you ship, I would imagine. So probably don't want to do any international fucking shipping of international. I'm just kidding. But it is expensive as shit. We sent our friends a package from our pit bull rescue in Denmark. And so apparently they don't always get the mail, doesn't always get delivered in Denmark. Like it just sits in their postal station, and it sat there for 2 weeks, and they mailed it back to us. And it was like $45 to ship a t-shirt or 2 t-shirts. And so then we had to fucking pay to send it back. We were like,
that's so annoying.
It's annoying, but it's also funny. I really appreciate you being on here. I hope it was a good time for you. I love having people on. I love seeing, especially entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs. It's just inspiring. I hope it'll inspire some of the other Gen Xers that are watching. You fucking fucks, do something with yourselves. Jesus, for God's sakes. Get on the good foot. Do something. Smoke cannabis and do some great things. What's going on with you? But thank you so much. And I will hit the pause on here so we can keep talking, but you guys don't get to hear anything else. We'll save anything else. If it's good enough, we'll put it on the next one.